Hey everybody, welcome to VFX and Chill, today with Hashi and Michael. VFX and Chill is an exciting show where we try to explain visual effects or recreate them and show you how to do them at home. Michael, how are you doing?
I'm doing great as I punch my microphone stand. No, I'm doing well. Life is good, just chilling, VFXing.
Chilling and VFX, and that's the way that I like to live as well. I want to say a thank you to that Tales from the Crypt intro, which hopefully you recognized if you are as old as I am. But that was actually a complete fan recreation of the intro sequence created by Damien either Penoit or Penoit. But an incredibly faithful adaptation and really, really well done. So a big shout out to that. You can find it by searching for the Tales from the Crypt fan art intro. And it's, down to like every last little detail is in there, which is pretty amazing. I'd be hard pressed to remember the real difference between those two. But Michael, was Tales from the Crypt before your time, you youngin'?
Well, being that I'm not that young, I have no idea. When I was growing up, we did not have TV in our house, so I didn't see anything.
There's that. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
When I was a kid, TV was called books.
And one other thing, I saw Tales from the Crypt when it aired on, I think, Fox, likely. After the rated R versions aired probably on HBO, I think. So it was something like that. They went into syndication at some point.
Was it like Goosebumps for grown-ups, or?
Yeah, Goosebumps for grown-ups. That's probably reductive, but probably very, very accurate. A little anthology-ish show hosted by the Crypt Keeper, who was voiced by John Kaiser, I think. Just trying to stretch my knowledge of all exciting things. Welcome, Frigby, and welcome, Esco Filmworks, to the chat. And welcome.
Esco Filmworks. What do you mean by stop with the lives, we're impatient folk? We've only got 9 lives, and we're running through them pretty quick, so I don't know what you...
It's true.
You're like a cat.
Well, we are excited this episode to share with you some very spooky visual effects tips. And I might start by sharing my screen for a second. We have, I posted this question, like, what's the best visual effect shot you've seen in a horror movie, and what's the worst? And our very
Slither for both.
Kay, Slither for both. That seems pretty appropriate. I don't know if I have properly seen Slither all the way through, but...
Evan Abrams, awesome instructor.
Absolutely.
Best in American Werewolf in London transformation scene, worst American Werewolf in Paris transformation scene.
That's pretty good. Yeah, backed up by guest of the show, Lorne Archer Films. Brian, hi to Brian. Nick Smith mentions this little subtle transition from What Lies Beneath. Michael, did you see What Lies Beneath?
I did not.
That was a fun little like love letter to Hitchcockian films by Zemeckis. I think.
I have not seen enough Halloweeny spooky films. We were scrolling through like spooky things on Hulu and Disney and HBO Max and all the things, and I'm like, I recognize these titles as classic movies, but I was like, I have not seen any of these. So my husband was like, how about House of a Thousand Corpses? I'm like, okay.
Perfect. Let's start there.
The dude's name is Rob Zombie. How spookier can you get? So yeah, that was that was my evening the other night.
That is incredible. Yeah, I'm not into the super scary gory movies. I do love any that as dumb as it sounds, the ones that make you think. The real the ones that stick with you, not from their horrific violence, but because of their clever concept or something like that.
Yeah, I find the over-the-top violence ones are just like someone's having fun with lots of ketchup and corn syrup, whereas like the ones that are like actually creepy to me are the ones that are like, it could happen to you kind of stuff.
For sure. Now, so Bruce right here from Hey Bruce Wright shared this, and this is from, I believe, The Bride of Frankenstein,
yeah.
and I did not remember this sequence at all. But check out this ridiculousness. It is...
Oh, that's so good.
Look at this. Look at that. Like, there's
so
overlap.
Good.
There's even the
refraction through the glass.
Yeah.
That's
this
so
is
good.
Quality work. I don't even know how I would approach
I do.
this. But like, look at this
It's really,
stuff.
really clever. Look how all of the characters are on a chair so that where the moving actors are, for the most part, are being discluded by the chair, occluded, whatever.
Oh yeah, you can kind of see that up here.
So they
have
have
to like
something...
scratch in a little bit to avoid, because he's behind the glass there, which is really
so
great.
They shot him with glass, and then they are comping in the tiny sized people on top of it. It's so... See, here's the thing. Good planning
really
makes your
good
visual
planning.
effects so much easier. Because if they just had them standing in the glass bottles, then you have to deal with the reflections in front of their faces and the refraction behind them. But in this case, there's a tiny bit of rotoscoping where they cross, like see the Pope hat or whatever that is, going outside. There's a little bit of rotoscope there. But the rest of the time, it's just the chair shape, which isn't moving.
It's amazing. And I think that even this label might be masked out.
I think so.
From the foreground, which is
I would.
Just a tremendous amount of work. Yeah, look at that. It maintains...
But the camera's not moving. It's just really well planned out. So you have elements in front, elements behind. It is all
right there within that.
That sticker is such a good idea because it adds to the selling of the effect that this dude is inside this bottle. Because look, there's this label that goes is clearly on the bottle and clearly in front of the guy. Like, it's such a good little touch that helps to sell the idea that this dude is literally in this bottle. It's so good. It's so good.
Amazing. And this shot we are reserving for Seth Worley when Seth returns. I should acknowledge that Seth is taking...
Seth isn't here.
Seth is taking a well-deserved break after finishing shooting a feature film and then returning to work to do a few VFX and chill episodes, and I'm happy that he and the family are taking a little bit of time. So, scrolling through the rest of these, the Gustav Fring, spoiler alert, face-off moment is a very good moment. The Thing always makes it to lists of great visual effects, or of special effects, I suppose. Here's John Hurt reprising his role from Alien in Spaceballs, which is a very good sport of John Hurt. That makes me happy. So a lot of fun suggestions from the audience. We're happy to have any others or that you want to mention there in the chat if y'all would like. While we're on it, since one of the top like comments was talking about An American Werewolf in London. This is the... let me switch to like a slightly more... Yeah, here's a nicer view of this all. This is the amazing special effects makeup artist Rick Baker. Look how young he was doing all of these effects. This has gone down in history as...
He looks so Hollywood in
one
this
of
shot.
the... Oh my God, there's Seth in the background behind us. Is that Seth behind the YouTube clip? There he is. Hi, Seth. Oh.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, it's so good. The makeup is so good, though.
It is so great. And honestly, having this movie as your calling card for makeup effects and working well with the production. John Landis directed this, and... Wait, John Landis, right? My goodness, I'm going to get something wrong because there are real horror fans here probably. But, the effect of this entire transformation was covered in a bunch of different quick shots of of things like this. Look at this stretching hand. Shot in many, many stages. Great close-ups, really cool prosthetics that were extendable, and kind of by that nature.
I love that those two shots, because before this shot, you see it happening, and you're like, it's not attached to him. Like it's just they've got the prop in front of him, and then he's standing there. But then it cuts to it actually being attached to him. You're like, oh no! Like it really just makes everything work, because those were two separate things, obviously. The one that had the great animation and the one that they could attach to him. But because you see it moving like that, like the real detailed movement in the one shot, and then you see it attached to him, your brain just fills in that it's still doing that kind of detailed movement, even though it isn't.
It's great.
It's again great planning.
Now, I forgot to pull the other transformation. Let me see if I can find the Paris transformation, which was this was a 1997 movie.
While you're looking for that, Jaspax in the chat says when we start doing our stuff in After Effects, we should just not use the save button in this episode to make it really scary.
Ooh, that's spooky.
It's not happening. Definitely going to be saving. I'm not that much into scary movies. Frigby Chillweather says the hands being cut off in The Thing scared the living heck out of them when they first saw it. I mean, they used a different word than heck, but family show. The Thing, David Fairchild agrees, definitely one of the best for horror VFX and special effects. Watching Gollum melt into the lava was influential to Zach's childhood. Says it still holds up. And Jason Murphy says Birdemic. Definitely some of the worst visual effects
Birdemic.
I have ever seen. And listen, folks, if you have not seen Birdemic, you don't understand how bad visual effects in a released film can be.
Birdemic is phenomenal. So
I got to watch it live with the crew from Riff Tracks. They live riffed that one in Nashville.
That is the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. They have a recording of it, I believe, you can purchase from Riff Tracks. And if so, you can probably hear me laughing in the background, because I was in the audience for that one. And it was so good.
Oh, dear. All right. So I don't know if this is the transformation. They have a couple of clearly practical close-ups, and then we've got this situation. And this is 1997. So
okay, right when everyone's like, we can use computers for everything. Look at Jurassic Park, and then it wasn't ready.
Yeah, this is probably where they were in that gray area of not really knowing how to use motion capture, and also not having translated over the skills of traditional animators or stop motion animators to this kind of work. I don't know,
because everyone was like, computers can do it all. I'm like, yeah, but good animation is the same regardless of how the animation is happening. And yeah, they weren't quite on it then. Everyone was still learning. It was all brand new. Mm-hmm. I mean, that still looks good.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. Like, that's a good. Though this could be a costumed moment. Let me see. Nah, there's some warpiness going on. So I don't know.
It's a good jump scare, I guess.
I mean, I feel like this. It seems like you need digital, to go frame or at least time ramped. Yeah, this isn't the most fantastic resolution of this, but these are some digital creations, and they're going for some stuff that was difficult at the time. Like, they've got this nice stretching out, like
good board fur.
They've got the fur. It looks like they opted to do some kind of like more articulated, or more rendered out fur in this patch on the back, and then possibly a surface level cheat on a lot of the rest of the body, which is what I would have done in those days. So
still do now.
And another amazing one that was suggested in the comments was from something not too far from this. I think this is from 1995. A Stephen King television production of The Langoliers. Now
the Langoliers sounds like a band of Scottish, like Celtic music.
And to be honest, The Langoliers
what is that?
look a little bit...
What is that?
Oh, no, not American Pride. That's symbolism. Did you see that, Michael?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
look, what's happening to the...
Now, hang on. I will say, having the truck react to them busting through it is a really nice touch.
It is a good touch.
Too bad they couldn't put that same level of craftsmanship into the actual animation of the creature.
It's a little difficult. What's fascinating about this is, even without pulling it up, this has a lot of Birdemic vibes.
It does.
Like that, the Birdemic had a very similar issue where it's clear that when they were filming, they didn't know what the effects were really going to look like. I don't doubt that they storyboarded it out and had an idea, but their plates are wide, static, and if the camera's moving, the creatures are hardly in there.
Yeah.
So the performances are very earnest. We've just got, look at that. That's some good depth here. So obviously, what's cool about all these clips is that all of these are steps to learning the way that we do modern blockbusters, which can still be a crazy challenge. And now that we've discussed some of these...
hang on a second. I think my big problem with these guys is the way they move. They move like they don't have any weight or mass. They just kind of fly really fast for something that's like eating the earth. But are they eating... Like, are they supposed to be eating the earth? Or are they just supposed to be... Like, what are they?
I have not seen this, but I believe...
Oh my gosh, that's so bad.
I believe that the general concept is they are eating reality. And this
so in that
group
case,
of characters are trying to escape.
Okay, so
look, even the airline is American Pride. That's why there was an American Pride truck and an American Pride plane.
I think if these things are eating reality...
Look at that shot. There's some...
That shot's not bad.
There's some 3D tracking going on there.
But they moved
Or was that all CG?
in that shot. Yes.
That was a... Wait. Okay.
No.
I think that's tracked, right?
I think it is tracked.
I mean, granted, like a runway with lines on it would be a great thing.
You'd have a lot of visual reference to track it to, yeah. And they would have to have done manual tracking back then because this is 90s.
Mm-hmm. So we've got
it by hand.
I mean, that's pretty cool. And so, like this, the idea of this scene is really cool is really cool to me. The idea that things are eating reality, and and falling into little bits they're eating off or falling into the void. Poor Ed from Contact's got to try to
pull up early. I think my problem is that the way they move, not in these shots, but in the just single shots of them flying around, they seem to not have any mass at all. They're just zippy like that. They just zippy.
Yeah, it's like.
But if they're eating reality, then maybe they don't have to fall. They're not.
Maybe they're not bound by.
So while visually it feels wrong, it might scientifically. Oh, see, that's just so bad. It might like visually it feels wrong. But scientifically, it might be fine that they move like that, because if they are consuming reality itself, then perhaps they're not bound to the... Look at that light wrap. They're not bound to the laws of our physics, so perhaps it's fine that they move like that, perhaps.
That's a good point, yeah. Like, I'm using my narrow, like, human Newtonian physics perspective of all this stuff, and this may just be something that we're not meant to understand.
But it feels to me like someone got After Effects and was just like, I can animate this stuff real quick and doesn't like get easing.
I have Raydream Studio 5.
Yeah. They eat time, says Jaspax.
They eat time. But time is tied to space.
They eat the remains of yesterday, apparently.
Oh, so are these people like left? Are they left over in
Caesar
yesterday? They were supposed to be into the next day, and so they eat. Okay, like again, Stephen King, good with the concept, but the concepts are always great. The endings, they don't always stick the landing. But back to what we do on the show, Michael.
Oh, yes.
Think,
we should do things.
What do you think we should do today to teach these very patient folks as we talk about horror movies, what they can do at home.
Well, I plan to just do some general spooky things. The Red Giant social medias have posted some spooky stuff lately, so I figure I might break down some of those things.
I do love that
also,
in meetings and on this show we refer to the Red Giant social media as like an entity or
what
team.
It is.
It is. It's an entity named Michael Zalapsky. So,
it's not always me. Sometimes someone else steps in, like when we're on vacation last week.
Sure, to some degree.
But yeah, so there was some stuff posted on there that I thought I might break down. I also might do some flocks of bats, talking about making some bats flying around, since Particular has flocking. So yeah, there's a few things I might get done today.
Ooh, the Frighteners. Jason, that's a fantastic mention. And it actually could tie into some cool stuff that we could maybe do today. I kind of like the sound of that. So, Michael,
yes.
Could I start with Jason Murphy's mentioning the Frighteners, which is one of my favorite horror comedy movies. It's by Peter Jackson. Very different than The Lord of the Rings. Much more similar to early Peter Jackson, which is to say, it's my favorite Michael J. Fox vehicle post Back to the Future. I really enjoyed him in that, and it was a great performance and a great flexing of a lot of visual effect muscles to try to get through that movie. So anyway, I think that I would like to explore some Frightener stuff, because I had started to try to do that stuff a while back in cinema, but now I feel like we have some really cool tools to be able to accomplish that. But in the meantime, Michael, could I cut over to what you're up to?
Sure. Someone was doing some showing off of some of the Cinema 48 Claw stuff. EJ Hassenfratz.
That EJ.
He did a video for School of Motion on the cloth physics.
I like my colorful swatch decorations over here, Michael.
I mean, he did a thing he was doing a thing against my 4D cloth, and I was like, you know what? That looks like something you could do for ghostiness. You know, like the traditional ghost covered in a sheet thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I put this together. Have not shared it yet. This is never been seen. But this is my little kind of ghostly take on a little sheet covered thing. So I think I might figure.
I love it.
Yeah, I haven't shared this yet, but it's so simple that I think I could do this really fast, just in Cinema 4D, just really quick.
Oh man, let's do it.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. So I think that's where I'll start today, and then we'll get to bats and some of the more breakdown stuff. But this is just so easy and so fun. And since you did the Dementor thing last week, the Dementor Raptor, whatever, I figure something covered in a sheet. Using Cinema 4D dynamics would be a good place to start. So I'm going to cover how to get your sheet floating around, all ghosty-like, and I might cover how to get this little glowy look in Redshift too.
Wait, you did that in Redshift?
Yes.
Cool.
So it's all a nice stylized thing. So yeah, I think. Yes, Frigby. It could also be a jellyfish. You could use this for jellyfish.
It would be great for a jellyfish.
Yeah, I would use the rope dynamics for that. Mm-hmm. So that each tentacle could be its own rope rather than using the clothy part. But
what icon would I use if I wanted to find a rope dynamic? Oh, never mind. I was thinking of the soft body icon, which is a jellyfish looking thing.
Oh yeah,
I think. But if you're interested in cool stuff like Michael is about to do, and I think I'm going to attempt something along the same lines in a moment, you can also check out yesterday's Ask the Trainer episode, which was an amazing overview, Ask Noseman Anything About Simulations episode, where Noseman ran through a bunch of test cases of ways that you can use some of the new cloth dynamics and a bunch of different interactive systems together within cinema. So if you dig the physics sims, check out that series as well.
Oh yes, I almost forgot about that. Someone should put that in the chat for people to be able to see.
That's a good idea. You know what? I will find that.
No, I already did it.
You did? Oh, that's...
So we're starting.
Oh, thank you,
Sorry,
Red
I
Giant
was just
Social.
staring at this sphere on my screen. So I'm going to start off with a sphere, but so I don't want just the top of the thing to be just a sphere. Like the ghosty thing, I want to have some movement on the top of the sheet, so it's not just like flat.
Fair enough.
Because the whole rest of the thing is going to be clothy. So I'm going to have my sphere be deformed, but I don't want it to be this, because you see you get more detail up here when you crank up the segments. You get different levels of detail. Like these are big polygons, those are tiny, tiny polygons up there. So I always change this to icosahedron so that all your polygons are the same size.
Nice.
So that when one says, you know what, I'm going to make a displacer and add some noise to it, we get, wrong button. We get some lovely blobby stuff happening. Make this scale a bit larger and make the sphere have more segments. Make this scale a bit bigger, probably. And we'll make it, let's see, pump up the height a little bit more. Yeah, I think I need to make that scale still bigger. And definitely want to animate this. Animation speed, I don't know, 1 maybe? Is that going to give it nice, organic, blobby kind of?
Yeah, let's try. Ooh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, let's get some more time on my timeline here. Let's see, I don't know, whatever. One of my favorite things added to Cinema 4D is that when you type in a longer time, you don't have to then extend this part out. It just does it automatically for you.
Oh,
back in the day,
yeah.
Extra mouse clicks.
Little silly two-step process.
Yeah, just extra mouse clicks gone is my thing. Like if I'm working in this stuff all day, every day, because I do the Red Giant stuff for Maxon, but I also do freelance stuff. And so for me, being that I do this, day in, day out, anything that can save me mouse clicks, sure, it's what, a second or two, but a second or two several times, in a row adds up to days and hours, and it's just frustrating. Like, I just want to work. So anyway, I love that. You just type in the longer time, and it makes it fast. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Brilliant.
I'm just happier. So this sphere here, we got our little head for our ghosty, and then we need our little plane here. Let's see. Let's check the size of things. So yeah, this is the size of our human. It's a roughly 6 foot tall human. Let's see for sure. Type 6 foot. Translates at 182 centimeters, and it was 180. So yeah, almost a 6 foot tall dude here. So our ghost.
What do you do in general when you want to check the scale? Do you do what you just did, like bring in a human scale for reference, or?
Yep.
That's pretty good.
That's usually what I do. I mean, it's just a quick way, because some people are like, they go through steps of making a cube a certain size, so they can tell what size it is. But you don't. That's still abstract. It's a cube. This is a human-sized shape, so like this is almost a 6 foot tall person, so a little shorter than me, but still but normal sized, not monster sized like me. So it just, you as a human, what roughly normal humans look like, and having a humanoid shape just immediately makes your brain go like, oh, I know what the size of everything else in the scene is, because it's to the reference of the human being, because we're just wired to see humans. So we're like, oh, there's a human. There's a human-sized shape. So this head for the ghost is way too big. I need that to be smaller, more.
Gotcha. So this blob is just the head.
This blob is just going to be the head.
It's not like an abstract collection of like limbs and or head. Like a sonogram, that might be a head. Maybe it's the butt. I don't know.
Yeah, no. My plan is to make the head be this. So I can actually shrink this scale back down some. There we go. I think that's good. We'll play with it, but that's what I'm going to start with. Let's give our plane some more segments. Let's see, 100 by 100 should be good. That should give us some nice detail. All right, let's get this person out of the way. So our sphere needs to be a collider. So right-click, simulation, collider, which is a hanger.
Okay.
For some reason.
Makes sense. Cloth goes on a hanger.
Cloth does go on hanger, and then simulation tags cloth. And let's see. One thing I want to do is on the collider, I want it to have lots of friction, and I want the cloth to have friction too, because I don't want it falling off. So then we'll just hit play and we'll see what happens.
What? Are you kidding me?
There you go. There's a
Look
little
at that.
ghost.
Your ghost jellyfish.
Now, you see this kind of jaggy stuff happening here on the edge.
Why is that? Why is there jaggy stuff happening there?
Well, if I show the polygons and B, you can see that the polygons are only this size.
Oh.
So it looks jaggy, but because of Mr. Fong over here, if we just say don't have an angle limit.
Oh, so you're not even going to like a subdivision surface. You just tell the Fong, like,
Just
hey,
tell the Fong to
relax
figure it
a
out.
bit. Relax.
Relax
It's
a bit,
cool.
Fong. It's fine. So that's one way just to get it to look nice and smooth just automatically, because the Fong shading just says, hey, every polygon's going to have a curve to it. So there's not going to be any Fong breaks happening. So it just shades in. This is from back in the day when they didn't have the computing power for very high polygon counts. So they just came up with this idea of telling the computer, listen, you're going to shade it like it's got a lot more detail than it's there. It's a cute little cheat that's been in computer graphics since the very, very early days, and it's still useful today.
I think that all cheats to make something computationally faster are completely relevant.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a walk here, but we were without power for 13 days, which for someone who loves to be on the computer is a long time to not have electricity in your house. Also, like, I like warm showers and refrigeration, like, some of those
Warm showers and refrigeration are nice. Yes.
they're pretty key to an enjoyable life. But having those 13 days and figuring out how to cope and having the help of the neighbors and things like that made it so all of the cheats and things that we had to do to get through that were more hard fought. And so as soon as we did get power and internet back, we're trying our best to not go crazy, like to realize we can do well with less than we were previously consuming. It's the same thing as with these 3D kind of tools. You don't, just because you can calculate millions of triangles to do something or have a ginormously dense mesh and throw it into Unreal or some bizarre thing like that. Why make your computer work extra hard when using your resources cleverly will likely allow you to do more?
Exactly. Just because you've got the computational power to do more doesn't mean you should. It just means you can do it faster, as I keep telling my clients, but they keep wanting more, so they get
Keep
more.
wanting more.
Oh, that is too fast. That is way too fast. I need a slow ghosty.
Now you just put a little vibrate tag on there to make it jump around?
Yeah, so what I did was I right-click, animation tags, vibrate. I put that vibrate tag on my sphere, and then I set a keyframe so that there's no vibration in the beginning to give the cloth time to fall onto it and get in its position. Then I ramped up the amplitude of the position vibration so then it would then start moving. So then you get a little bit of motion out of the cloth. Might be too slow though. 0.2. Try that. Oh, hey. Because I want the ghost to have some movement. You know what? I want the cloth to have a little bit more. Let's see, where's my?
We're going to get into some art direction of this cloth through the physics.
I want it to move a little more turbulently.
Now,
yeah, I'm going to add some
turbulence. You're throwing forces into there. What respects forces that you add in here?
Particles.
Particles?
Yep. So these simulate forces here originally were just for the Cinema 4D's particle system.
Okay.
But they work on the cloth and rope too, because they are particle-based.
Ooh.
So you've got field forces, which are insane. It uses fields in Cinema 4D. Field force! It uses fields in Cinema 4D, which can be driven by so many things. When Cinema 4D introduced fields, it was mind-blowing. I have done some pretty intense stuff in Cinema 4D, and I was bumping up against limitations of the software can't do what I need it to do, and I was getting ready to start learning Houdini or something else, and then Cinema 4D introduced fields, and it removed all the limitations that were in the way of what I was trying to do. Fields let you drive so many things. You can drive vertex maps, you can drive polygon selections, you can drive cloners, and effectors and deformers and restriction tags and so many things with fields. And fields can be based on splines and shapes and shaders and, so many things in Unity. So you can drive the shading of an object based on a field, which is driving MoGraph cloners, which is driving, and it's all being driven by one procedural thing. And it just makes everything so much more procedural and wonderful. And I love fields so much. Anyway, forces being able to be used for particles.
Sorry, everybody's ears. That was probably little.
Sorry, I'm excited.
No, that was I threw our field force drop.
I forgot we had that.
Without checking I had forgotten. From when we had the amazing Ellie Wade on to do some particle sims from the Halo intro.
That's right.
Yeah, that's when we needed our field force.
But no, field forces can be being the fact that they can drive the cloth and rope dynamics now means that you can. It just gives you tons of control. I'm not using it now because I just want some basic turbulence. But Chris Schmidt from Rocket Lasso, when field forces were integrated into the cloth and turbulence sims in 23.1 version of Cinema 4D, showed that you can use a rope spline to drive the field force that's driving that rope spline. Ooh. So as the spline, because you can set it to push along the spline, so adding a little bit of turbulence and the field force together means the rope is basically pulling itself around the scene, and it does some crazy cool stuff. But I'm just using regular old turbulence. Let's see, put the strength up and see how it...
Because Frigby was asking if we would consider ourselves experts in our field.
Yes, like force. A scarecrow.
Field force.
Outstanding in our field.
That is still just one of the most solid jokes, word plays of all time.
So there we go. Got some nice turbulence billowing around. Let's see here. For scale good. It's too much, obviously.
I don't know. I mean, I know that there was that...
I want to change this frequency down.
Baby Affleck ghost movie where there was like the very sullen, like moving around slowly kind of ghost. But I would love to see a more animated character that was based on the same principle. It's just, like a head and maybe two hands under a sheet of cloth.
Oh, look at that. Oh, I just love
look at that.
It's so much fun to play with.
This actually looks remarkably like the bad guy from The Frighteners. If you had who basically is just a Dementor or Death, Angel of Death kind of looking character. But I remember that the Frighteners featured some really cool character cloth sims on top of their the antagonist in that. If you've not seen that, check out that movie. It's a lot of fun.
I'm going to add some friction here to give it some drag as well. It might be too much. It definitely is too much. You know what? Actually, I kind of like it without the drag. Anyway, so there we go. We've got our little ghosty. He's floating around. It's a little bit of organic shapes up top, because if we didn't have that, it would just be sitting like that. And would look like a ball underneath some cloth. And we don't necessarily want that. So just a little bit of kind of organic movement up there, I think helps. That's turbulence is still too much.
It still looks really, really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's pretty set as far as the ghosty motion goes. So
I just love this stuff where you're getting a lot of the animation for free in a way.
Right. There's no keyframes in this except for turning the vibrate tag on.
So, yeah, amazing, amazing stuff.
Yeah. You have anything to show on your end yet?
I am trying to remember how to do something. I'll show basically what I'm trying out here. I am here in Cinema as well, and I opened up the asset browser, and I wanted to find out if I had anything scary in here, because I'm obsessed with the Frighteners now. Thank you for mentioning it, Jason. So David Fairchild says to take this cloth ghost effect and add it on top of Patrick Swayze in Ghost, which would be kind of cool to do. So from the asset browser, I'm going to bring in Big Man Shake Hands, which is a phenomenal asset. What I like about this asset is, well, first of all, this guy's scary. You know, like you don't want to run into them in a dark haunted house from the movie Frighteners. But in fact,
that guy's just scary anyway.
I'm going to just strip away the texture and just look at this shape, because what I'd like to do is I kind of want to basically grab like a head worth of points and a hand worth of points and keep those and kind of get rid of everything else, because I want to start creating a cloth like you've done, Michael, but I want this face and this hand to be pushing like they're trying to stretch through.
Oh.
Not unlike the effect in the Frighteners, and also I think there was a Freddy Krueger moment that is similar, where the wall is kind of like a spandex sheet kind of effect. I do not know the Friday the 13th movies very well, but I do believe that there's a moment where it's the same type of effect. So I've just taken these models and just grabbed these bits of them. And in polygon mode, I could select each selection like that and then split them off. Like, where's split? Let's say split, and we'll call this one the head there. And on this one, we'll delete those bits, and we'll call this the hand. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. So what I'm hoping is, well, first of all, let me make these more controllable. So let's go to our tools, our axis center tool, and grab the hand. And if I'm in object mode, you can see this a little bit better. We'll center all of the points to that, and then same thing for the hand.
Hashi.
Oh, yes.
Quick mention.
Yes.
Go to your asset browser and type in collision. And then grab that scene that's on the left.
Collision.
Yeah, open that.
I am about to be so mad.
Just
Ah! This was in the asset browser?
all this time.
Are you kidding me? Is this the... Jonas, is this the one that you made me when I asked you how to do this effect like a year ago? Because
so you could make this better now using fields and delay effectors, but this is using the collision deformer back before we had a good cloth. So you could use this in conjunction with some stuff. So yes, you've got a head and a hands that are pushing through this wall surface using the collision deformer, which is really clever. Little deformer, very handy for doing like footsteps in the snow and things like that, because you can make it stick or you can make it pull back like this one's doing.
Moment is kind of what this looks like right now.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty phenomenal. So yeah, this is a plane under a subdivision surface with a collision tag, and you can see here that its
collision deformer
are those. Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah, so if you have a character that you want to walk through snow, for example, you just set your snow plane up with some displacement on it, and then you use like some block geometry, like a cube or something, and attach it to the feet of your character, and use that as the collider for the collision deformer, and you can make it leave footprints in snow as your character's walking, just real easily. I mean, maybe not a cube, but just rough block geometry, because you don't want it to be using the high detailed character's shoe, but set some quick proxy geometry for the shoe, and you've got really good footprints in snow or sand look without you having to do like a full-on physics sim. It's very handy.
And I do appreciate that you stopped me there before I got much further.
No. I just thought it was cool to show a way to do it, because if you do it with the cloth, you're going to get a very different look. I just wanted to show you there is that
is fantastic.
Other way to do it.
Now, one thing I'm a little bit unsure about in terms of how I want to do it is what I would likely be doing is simulate.
Please mirror that hand.
What is the best? What's the best way to mirror this geometry? A symmetry
just duplicate
object?
the hand. That'd be the fastest way.
And then I'll throw it in there. Okay.
Yep, and then just make it editable. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So now, whoops.
Now you got it. Then just select one hand and split it from the other.
But can't I just?
Or you could just.
Wait, what if I do that? If I don't...
No, you still just
fine,
gotta just
whatever.
split it.
It doesn't take very long. All right, and let's split U. What is it? Is it
UP.
UP?
Split.
Up.
UP,
Split up.
and then delete.
Because they
Then
split
delete.
up.
Yep.
Whoops. And then in here, delete. Wait.
Right. Oh, I guess not.
Got him. Well, it was right, but it didn't. It wasn't selected.
gotcha.
Exactly. So let
There
me
you go.
grab both of these. Let me make sure the axis of them is in the center here. If I go to object mode, okay, it is. That's great. So if I had a setup like this, what I would hope to do is let me set up these guys to do something real quick, which is just let's add some animation tags, a vibrate tag for position, and let's see. So right now, I've got a little I've got a cool dance going on. I like that. Okay, so let's make this slower. Let's make it like 0.5.
I always want it to be like 0.5. If I weren't always doing training on this machine, I would probably set that as my default. Because remember, you can set a lot of things as defaults.
Oh yeah, it's a good point.
Actually,
you can just write...
I forget to mention that when you can set presets, multiple presets for a tool. If you go to your top right, Hashi, of your attribute manager, see where it says custom up there? You can set a bajillion presets, and some of those presets can only override certain parameters. So it's such a cool, handy way to work. So you can. So if you always anyway, that's a whole other discussion. But anyway, you can set presets up there, and I keep forgetting to do that.
That is
great.
But
you can have like 20 presets for something, and some of them only change certain parameters. It's crazy good. Mega tip right there.
Beautiful.
Good tip. And I always forget to set it up.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Michael.
Especially, like a lot of people, like you do the same thing all over and over and over again. There's no reason. Just have the computer do it for you. But if you're trying to do training and someone's like, well, I'm trying to follow you along and my thing's not doing the same thing. And you're like, well, crap, because I have all these, saved saved it as the default. But now if you just do a preset, I love those jazz hands. Definitely make him do jazz hands through the wall. We're going to have a fun Frighteners. The Funniners. Instead of Frighteners, it'll be the Funniners. Yeah.
All right. So right now, these are all on the same random seed. So, but I kind of like that they're moving in unison to some degree, which is kind of fun. So, oh my gosh, I love that. This feels like Lawnmower Man or something like that, where you've got the most ridiculous control over these elements. They're very low res, but the reason I'm sticking with these low res things is because it's just going to become you're not going to see any of this detail. It's going to all be in the cloth. So here's what I hope to do. I hope to put this all into a null, and I'll change go to the vibrate tags, and I'll change the seed on these two. So they're doing something slightly different. Well, actually, I want to copy this one over, just holding Control, copying it up there, and then changing the seed. So what we'll have is sort of like these are all sort of randomly moving around. It's a lot, actually. This is very fun.
Tone down the X movement on the hand somewhat.
It's a bit there. So let's change these down to maybe that much, and maybe 50. All right. See, if I had figured it out on one and then copied it afterward, that would have made more sense. But I don't.
Or select them both and change them on both simultaneously.
Yeah,
that works.
Yeah, so that works.
That's good.
And then I do want to also. I don't know why I'm going for so many things. I want another vibrate tag
on the whole thing.
On the whole thing that is at like 0.2, and it's by 20, and it has some rotation to it as well. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's sort of like in After Effects. I love basically using expressions to drive something, so it's just doing its thing like that. And
this is basic an expression, yeah.
Yeah, and I love it. Let's see, I can close you for now.
This is basically wiggle.
Yeah, wiggle.
Oh, that's so good. I like it.
Which hands?
Do a little bit of
jazz hands?
Yes.
Let's see. Right now we've got like royal wave hands, and so let's turn that down, and which is jazz. There's.
The fruit. Yeah, see, perfect.
Perfect. I like it.
Thank
So
you, buddy.
what we've created is this complex simulation of the human form
The human form in motion.
in motion. I mean, really, I love it. It's so great.
So great.
Okay, so now here's where I'm going to get to a challenging part. Oh, let's save it. Let's save it as
saving it. Was
Oh, I
not
forgot. Are
craziness.
we not saving?
No, you should save it.
I'm going to save it as Friday. Now,
Freaky Frighteners Friday.
Freaky Frighteners Friday. It's where Michael J. Fox trades places with Christopher Lloyd on the first day of shooting Back to the Future. And let me tell you, now, Michael, how early would you get into the number of segments that you put in this cloth plane? I know you did it earlier, but
I mean, the great thing about the new cloth is that you can have it on a parametric object, so you can change it at any point in the process. I just knew offhand that I was going to need. I mean, you definitely need more than 10 for a good cloth sim.
Now, I'm going to add, a simulation tag to this. I'm going to make it cloth, and
Yes.
I'm going to add tags to these. I'm going to make them colliders.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I want to do is something that is covered yesterday in that link that we posted for Noseman's cool episode, where...
You can make that cloth somewhat smaller, probably.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know that there's a way to pin the outside edge of this, and I don't remember if it was done through a weight map and if it needs to be a material yet.
Oh, just do a belt.
On the edges? So what am I saying?
Do you need to pin it, or can you just turn the gravity off?
I feel like I should pin it because I want it to stretch against that point. So I'm adding a cloth belt, and
But you need to select the points.
so
Is the
can I
problem.
select them when it's
No.
so I do need to commit to some degree.
You can get
I mean-
procedural field-driven polygon selections currently.
I mean, I'm just going to go with
Can you do
64.
Can you do?
64 things there, and I'm going to convert it to some geometry. So I can, let's see, what do I want? I want like a ring selection, right?
Or I think you want a loop selection.
Oh, yeah. Whoops. And so I want those. Now, I don't remember if I can do the line, if the belt can be on a line or if it has to be on points.
It's point based, as I recall. What?
Okay, so
spin
I've selected all
yeah.
the points. This was probably an inefficient way to do it. I'm sure there's a way to grab all of those. And yeah, watch yesterday's episode. But I'm going to store this selection just so I can do it again quickly if I need it. And then on my belt tag, I'm going to belt. Can I say set now, or can I bring down my point? No.
You have to put an object that it's belting to.
I see.
Or instead of belting, just hit set on points, and that might do it. I don't remember because I'm trying to
curious
remember
about
the
that.
old cloth and the new one. I think you need to
Oh.
belt it to something.
Could I create a map? Nuts.
What are you trying to create a map for?
Well, I know that yesterday I was running the show. I wasn't paying enough attention to it because I thought I could always catch up with the recording. But I swear, I don't know why I'm improvising in a program that I am not very familiar with.
Cinema 4D makes it easy to. You need to put something for it to belt onto. So just put like some cylinders or some cubes or something around the outside edges,
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
or
So-
a cube, I guess. Yeah, perfect.
So-
Turn it off. Just turn the visibility off and use that as the thing to belt it to.
Oh, and you could just belt it as is.
You go to the belt tag, drag the cube into the belt on,
And set it.
and hit set. And see if that works.
Let's see. Set. Okay, so let me think. So what it... Okay. So I've done something poorly here. I'd be happy to keep on experimenting on this.
I think you should just turn off the gravity
turn off the
and set the
right.
cloth to follow position.
So now, is that under simulation, turning off the project gravity, or is it under the cloth tags gravity?
I don't think you need to do either one. I think you can just use the mix animation tab and turn on mix animation with pins or force, either one, and then it should just stay up.
Really?
I think you can lose the belt tag and lose the cube, both.
Okay, so right now,
You can delete the cube, delete the belt tag. You don't need to worry about those things.
okay,
Yeah.
so what's happening now? So with pins, I'm mixing the animation. I'm going to move my plane back a bit. Okay, now. This is not what I had hoped to do at the 1 hour mark in this show. I'm
Turn the influence of the pins down a little bit. There you go.
Oh. Wait a tick. Okay.
So move the plane up a little bit.
All right.
You know what?
Okay,
Actually, make a new plane that's got a little bit more.
A little more stuff. Well, what do you think is the, like, computationally, if I threw this into a subdivision surface, is that...
You're still not going to get the... You need more detail in the collision.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see what you mean, because this is just smoothing out my
smoothing
low
out.
poly
Right.
thing.
You're not getting the detail.
So let's get rid of that.
just make
Let's
it-
take a
make a
look
new-
at what Jazz Hands looks like by himself. Okay, so kind of coming through the wall there. So we'll start anew. We'll pretend that I had just only done this bit. And then I would just rotate this little plane like that, move it
Make it a little smaller.
forward, make it a little smaller. So it's just
And give it some more detail.
And now down here, let's try, what do you think is a good number? 128?
Sure. Then add the cloth tag.
Simulation, cloth.
And then go to mix animation with pins at, what was it, 15%?
Zoom around here.
Yeah.
And
Hit play and see what happens.
Oops, I wasn't on frame 0. Sorry. Play. Let's see. He's not quite getting up to it.
Just move the plane back a little bit.
Yeah. Boop. Okay, so I'll move that right in front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're getting somewhere.
But when your hands come through, they get stuck. So you need to set your plane's collision to be inside.
Okay.
Inside only, I think.
Let's see. So what is that?
On your collision.
Oh, uses a collider.
Yeah.
So
Front, back, both.
Now these aren't closed objects. Could that be an issue?
Shouldn't be.
Let's see.
Well, they're all set to front already.
So I want 0 friction on these, first of all.
Do you?
I think.
Well, I think you want some friction.
Because I feel like they should just slide around.
I think you just need more steps so that it doesn't pop through.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So that's under Control D, my project settings, simulation, and then we'll add some more substeps. Let's double that, and let's do. I keep on forgetting to go back to 0, and let's try 10 iterations. It'll slow it down a little bit, but
that's probably way more than you need.
that probably is way more than I need. Let's just try 2 iterations, and oh yeah, that's looking cool.
That is looking cool.
So I've got some stickiness here. We're getting to the Frighteners kind of look. Right now, the cloth is pretty liquidy. So I'm going to go to the surface here. I'm going to turn the stretchiness up. Let's see, the stickiness is already 0.
I want to point out while you're here that little drop down for presets is present on the cloth tag as well. It's present on everything.
So anything
You
that
can
you go
set-
in and are always changing the settings of, you could
You
That
can
is
set
the
as a preset
that
for
is the tip of the day,
everything.
and I wish that I had a drop for a tip of the day because
Tip of the day.
that's good. Tip of the day for you.
Tip of the day. Just the tip.
That's perfect. Make it up and send the bill to social team at redgiant.com.
That's not an address. Don't send it to that.
Don't send it to that. All right. So, oh yeah.
Nice.
So thank you for helping me think through the subdivision surface thing. Because the other day we were advising people incorrectly.
I think you could make the plane even more.
Oh wait, what's the Fong trick?
Oh yeah. Just untick angle limit entirely.
Yeah, there we go. Look at these natural ghosty. Oh, see? Who else was not terrified by that?
Give the plane some more.
What do we want? What?
Just give the plane some more segments. Hit M. We'll hit N B real quick so you can see what the detail level is.
Sure. Wait.
Or display garage shading lines.
All right. So we've got.
Yeah. So see, it's still fairly blocky. I think a bit more
blocky. Now, can I throw?
No! Don't do that.
Can I throw these guys in a subdivision surface? Just make them smoother.
Can. But I would make just one collision tag on the subdivision surface at that point, and get rid of the other ones.
Clever.
And see how that behaves. And then
you see, this is a conservation of energy situation we were talking about earlier. Let's see. So,
I think you should give the plane a few more subdivisions, just a few.
Where were we at? Wait, no, but the plane itself.
Yeah.
Let's go with 256 then.
Ooh. Yeah, that's going to be some highly detailed geo. See if that behaves.
So let's
back on frame zero.
Mirror on your face. Let's move you back a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, look at this moire going on.
Now hit NA to make that all go away.
Thank you.
That's goes back to garage shading.
Oh, it's John Voight.
And it was worth it. It was worth a try. All right, put those little cloth tags back on the collision tags back on the little objects. Yeah. And restart everything.
Burp.
His head is just determined to be all the way over there, huh?
It really likes being over there. How did I upset you?
Oh, well, maybe the tag on the subdivision surface would have been fine.
I don't like that you keep jumping over there. Why? Why you think you need to be over here? What did I change about it?
What did you do?
I don't think I have keyframes or anything on it. It just really likes being over there. It's haunted. It's a spooky episode, everybody.
It is a spooky episode. Your C4D is haunted.
What if I just make a copy and then play? It's haunted. It's haunted, everybody. I used to think that word was hanted. And
Frigby
probably sounded very silly.
Hanted would be silly. Frigby, the presets drop-down was introduced relatively recently. It was in 22, I think. It was one of those things in one of the releases where people were like, "Oh, this is a light release of Cinema 4D. It's not a lot of good features in it," and it was full of really, really useful things like this. Like when Release 17 came out with takes and tokens, and everyone's like, "Oh, there's not much in it." And like, takes and tokens saves me days of work on some projects. Like, come on, people. Same sort of thing. It was in one of those releases that was like, "Oh, it's a crap release," and it had like really powerful workflow things like that in it.
Let's see. If I change the
make a new vibrate tag and see what happens.
Yeah, like
just make a whole new vibrate tag. Actually, no, delete the vibrate tag entirely and see if it jumps. Just delete the vibrate tag.
Now, I bet it was just the seed of the vibrate tag was really trying to to maintain some order, some semblance of order in its life. So we'll put that there. We'll add a new, get rid of this subdivision surface, and we'll add a new, what am I doing? Animation tag, vibrate. Let's do a position. Let's do like 20 by 20 by 150 at 0.2 speed. Okay. And then let's hope for the best. Hoping for the best.
I'm hoping for the best.
You bastard. You haunted piece of geometry. Why? I don't want you over here.
Why is it just leaping over there?
Okay, I'm going to try seed 62. That puts you back in your place. Okay, now we've got a lot of... oh, yeah. I feel like I'm making it do too much work, but it is cool that we're getting the evil...
I think
this looks like
you
the
can
Frighteners
make...
poster now.
Yeah, here, pause it for a second. So it's calculating physics on all of that huge cloth thing, and you only need this tiny section. So I would say lower your polygon count on your cloth, on your plane object, in the object tab. So, take that back down to, 150 or whatever, but then make it smaller again. So it's really just in the section that you really need it to be in. Maybe make it shorter. Since most of the action is on the, make it a little wider and a little shorter.
Yeah, there
and then tweak the numbers, hit NB and tweak the numbers so you get more squarey polygons, since you're going to be able to slightly rectangular now.
Yeah, so we'll add like 200 there.
Yeah, whatever, roughly.
Okay, let's see. Now, when we did this and we checked the mix animation, what does that technically mean? Why is that?
So mix animation is, it's like the old physics tags had the ability to follow position and follow rotation. So it would take whatever animation is on it and make it follow that animation to some degree. But the difference is to pins, it's just like tries to latch on and follow it exactly. Whereas if you choose the other option under the mix animation, it's forces. It's more like there's a bunch of tiny fans that are blowing on each point, trying to blow it with however much force you set it to go back to that position. So it depends on the look you need, whether you need it to like pretty much snap to a spot, or if you need to just kind of like float towards the position. It's such a cool way to art direct stuff. So you can animate your soft body object moving around the scene and have it move exactly where you want it with keyframe animation, but still have it reacting like a soft body, for example.
That's pretty cool.
Or a cloth or a rope, whatever. You keyframe animate the whole thing if you wanted it to, and then it would follow that keyframe animation, but with the soft body, rope, cloth physics as well. So you get the best of both worlds. Full art directability, and still has that lovely, natural, organic, simulated look.
I don't remember what this does. So I'm getting that's cool. Like that looks like liquid metal
That's cool.
from Lawnmower Man. But I also feel like I'm not demonstrating much new at this point, and I feel like the viewers
the concept is there. You got it.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that I didn't get this looking cooler though. I feel like I could have gotten this to a cooler place. Michael, this is all making me feel very batty, and I want to know how to render in a Ghost in Redshift.
Well, hop on over.
Could you help us out?
Because I have a Ghost in Redshift.
Oh, that's perfect. So yeah, I wasn't trying to set up a transition to the bats there at all.
But yeah, here we go. Here's a Ghost in Redshift.
So you've got the Redshift, you've got that little post streak effect and everything.
Right here inside Cinema 4D, yes. So for those who don't know, if you have Cinema 4D, you have Magic Bullet Looks right there inside Cinema 4D. You can have it in your viewport or in your render. You just turn on Magic Bullet Looks here in your render settings. You can open Magic Bullet Looks here, and it will let you set up Magic Bullet Looks just like you would have Magic Bullet Looks in After Effects or Premiere Pro. Yeah, although now it's decided to be weird, probably because I have like 5 different things loaded at the same time. Usually it's already open by now and isn't crashy. Well, come on. I was playing with this just fine the whole minute ago while we were talking. Well, it might just need to go back to you for a minute while I restart something.
Well, one of the
That's
things...
unusual.
I just reduced the polygon count a little bit, and I'm trying to find the balance of where this looks like what I'm expecting. So I am going to go with a subdivision surface to smooth out the actual surface here, because this is sort of what I wanted more, was these that cool stretching effect. It's a little bit like T2, like when he's coming up out of the ground like that, which is really neat.
Oh, yeah. You got that head moving a lot.
I do have the head moving a lot.
And it looks so cool pushing through that way.
Tag and change it down to maybe 100. Okay, so just slow down
if you
a
want,
little bit.
if you want to try, go to the mix animation tab and change it to forces and see how the cloth behaves, just for funsies.
Oh, I would love to do that. So, okay, so just for everyone's memory, here's what it looks like. And you know what? I can hide these. We don't need to see them. Gosh, that is so cool.
Yeah, I love that so
cool.
much.
Okay, so if we went to the cloth tag on this plane here,
Mix animation.
And
then
said with
turn off with
force.
pins. Yeah, turn off with pins. Do with force. Put it up a little bit.
All right, strength. Okay.
Just see what it does.
Ooh, I think the head moved.
Turn
through.
the strength down to like 0.5 and see the difference.
Let's see. 0.5. Let's start over again here. Wait.
See, the force is not quite enough to hold it up. You see?
Gosh, that's sexy. Look at this.
Right? So make it maybe 0.7.
This is so beautiful.
You can do it in the middle of it running too, by the way.
By the way, this is 100 by 50 now, the number of polygons in here under a subdivision surface. So, like,
Nice.
Look at this business. This is the coolest thing I have ever done.
It's so much fun.
I want to sell this and for people to know that this is all I do from now on, are cloth simulations.
So go to your tag, your cloth simulation tag, and change the strength to like 0.8 or something. Keep in mind, you can do this while it's going.
That's true. I always feel bad making a sim start. Oh, it's so cool.
Oh, change it to up to,
Like the default one. The default one, Michael?
Sure.
Okay, that isn't quite enough either. That's neat. This is all I've wanted to know how to create since... When was the Frighteners? 1996? I've wanted to do this.
I don't know. I'd have to Google that.
Let's see. So what if I went back to my asset browser? We've got to have a wallpaper-like kind of thing, right?
Surely.
Wallpaper. Oh, these are boring wallpapers. I want old people wallpapers. Pattern. Not liking it. Carpet. Okay, off theme.
I mean, you could do the shining carpet on the wall.
The shining
That's fine.
carpet. That makes some sense. Actually, I am going to go with that. That's a funny homage. That's a little more wallpapery. What about
Just type
this?
cloth.
Oh yeah, cloth.
See if there's any. No? Fabric, maybe? There we go.
You're really playing a tagging game, just trying to... Oh, you see, like, yeah, here's one with lines that would make it really obvious. Well, let me, first of all, get rid of... Oh, that is hideous. So hideous.
So I would suggest you go to the tag and make it smaller. Or the tag itself.
Let's see. I'm going to first delete those. I'm going to stick with the shining one. Let's go to the tag.
Yeah.
Of what?
And of the cloth material, the material tag.
Mm-hmm.
and make it smaller by making the UV length like 25 or something, or that. So you get a little bit more wallpapery look to it.
See, this could be in The Shining, but so you can imagine it like this.
Coming out of the floor, yes.
Walking around. Now, a sim like this that looks this smooth and has all of this stuff going on is something that we couldn't do just a little while ago. And that's what I appreciate our amazing engineering team and development team coming up with, because this is cool. And
it's so cool.
It's different than the Frightener effect a little bit with this, but when we had it on this pins version, I thought that was actually quite like that effect. I'm turning up the influence a little bit more to see if that makes it more stretchy. Look at that. And that's remarkably what the Frightener's effect looked like.
Turning it up will make it have more of that snap to it.
Because I remember there were some scenes in the Frighteners where I could see that the material property of the wallpaper or whatever was being stretched beyond what its pixels were intended to do, which is a real mark of things in the 1990s where the texture wasn't trying to accommodate for that. And this, it feels like it's getting strained, but honestly, look at this fabric. This is just the viewport view of this all. I delight in this. All right, what am I doing?
You still have your face not turned off on the render.
Whoops. I was wondering where those harsh lines were coming from. All right, Michael, are we back up and running over there? It's Spider-Man.
Yeah. You can hop back over if you would like, and I will turn on my Redshift IPR in the viewport. We have our little ghosty, and then we will turn on Magic Bullet Lux, which shows up here in the viewport, and you have that option right here. Display Magic Bullet Lux right there.
What? Boom. Right in the display port.
But yeah, so if I didn't have the Redshift IPR on, you would still have the Magic Bullet Lux in the viewport. It's across your whole viewport. So if you're not using Redshift and you're just using standard materials, or even with Redshift, and you just want to kick out a cute little playbast, you can. But anyway, so there's my ghosty. The material looks like so. Let's open this up in the node editor. Do we need to put it in the node editor? I don't think we actually need to open this in the node editor. I think we can just look at it here. Come on. So we've got the color is black. Reflection is off entirely because we don't need it to reflect. Transmission is on. Opacity is on here a little bit. And then we are using, the color of the emission is being driven by, maybe we should open this up in the node editor. Got a Fresnel into a ramp.
I'm so afraid of node editors.
I love node editors. As a visual person who does some Cody stuff, I think nodes are a good way to visually see the flow of information. So this Fresnel goes into this ramp, goes into the color. You can visually see the flow of information and the same thing for Espresso when you're doing a coding. Because I love building rigs in After Effects with expressions and Mogerts and Essential Graphics and all that stuff. But you can't really see the connections between the things. So you just have to kind of try to remember in your head, or obviously do good labeling of your things. But if you do an Espresso or the node editor or scene nodes in Cinema 4D, you can see the flow of data. So whatever your rig is, you can see, this, drives that, and you can kind of visually see the connections. I really like nodes as a visual person. I think visual people should just embrace the visual beauty of nodes. But anyway, so I've got Fresnel effect into a ramp to drive the color. That's really all it is. It's a very, very, very simple material. And it gives you this lovely look, even without options, without Magic Bullet Looks. You get a cool kind of translucent, kind of not little floaty ghosty.
Oh, that is so
there
cool.
Not
these kinds
great
of
viewport performance, but it's rendering Redshift live, so there's that.
Hey, that's pretty good. Well done.
Yep. And for those who don't know, if you're using Redshift, you get this little Redshift. Once you have your renderer set to Redshift here, obviously, important first step, you could just take Redshift Start IPR right here. And so you don't have to have a separate window So like I've got redshift and I've got my sphere and I can move it around and whatever. Like you've got all that kind of control, but with the redshift render on top. Because all the people are like, oh, I don't like having two windows open. Well, you don't have to. It's right there. Start IPR. Boom.
That is pretty great.
Yeah.
Now, there's something that
It's my ghosty.
I'm curious about trying,
Yes.
but I want to see if I have the assets for it or not. Real quick, I'm going to look through my Action Movie Dad files for something that I did a while ago. Ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. What did I call it? I called it... You can always follow me for all of my amazing Twitter posts on the latest stupid video I saw. I've been very tempted to do something with the people who defaced Van Gogh's flowers.
By dumping tomato sauce on the glass in front of it.
Mm-hmm. It was to call attention to it. The art is fine, everyone.
I mean, if you're going to deface something, you might as well do it in a way that doesn't damage the thing, especially when it's a priceless piece of art.
That's fair. It was either poorly executed if they were trying to damage it, or well thought out because they knew it wouldn't actually, but it made a huge they made a huge splash.
While you're looking up your stuff, I'm going to talk about how I made this.
What's that?
So this is another little spooky ghosty, but this ghost is someone in a sheet using real life fluid physics, cloth physics, but I added some lovely flowy electricity into it. Not electricity, but energy, ghosty energy.
Ooh, that paranormal energy.
Yeah, it looks real paranormal and real cool. And let me see if I've got do I have my very well organized?
Always good to be very organized.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Electrify Ghost Wide. So, we've got our ghost here. And that's what it looks like raw. There's just what it looks like. And then I'll turn Magic Bullet Looks adjustment layer off. And here's what it looks like without Magic Bullet Looks. So before, after. Magic Bullet Looks doing a lot of the heavy lifting on this one. But what I did was I applied Rotobrush to get me just the ghost.
Mm-hmm.
So here's without the Rotobrush, you've got Electrify on everything. So Rotobrush with the ghost. Then I did Electrify. And I have Electrify set to only give me Electrify and only at a certain opacity level. I hit U to reveal all my keyframes.
Clever.
And so we've got Evolution of Electrify running, the opacity of Electrify, and the optical glow amount, because I bump it up, here at the end to make the eyes glow.
Lovely.
But you can see that you can like barely see anything here because the Electrify opacity is so low, but then the optical glow kicks in and you go, oh, there it is. So what's happening is I have this set to use the image contours of our ghost. Then I offset, I turned the evolution speed down completely. So it's not, so what Electrify does is you get options to use either the image contours, the alpha outline, some random fractal noise, or fractal noise and the image contours together. And it basically finds a point in your image contours and renders these little electrical lines on it, which they then distort. So instead of just having an electrical effect just kind of slapped on top of your footage, it can actually feel like it's married to your footage because it's following the actual contours of your footage. So if you've got a basketball player and you want to show that he's looking real powerful, you don't want just electrical bolts flying across the guy that just look like you slapped something on. You want it to like feel like it's like going into his eye sockets if you're kind of nice close up, or going around his bicep muscle, or whatever, depending on your shot. And what Universal Electrify does is it uses the contours of the image to kind of drive the shape of the electricity, so it feels like it is more married to the setup. And to answer your question, Nick Smith, this is an extension called Labels. This is version 4. of labels, because anyway, what labels does is it helps you quickly label your layers. It's very important for organizational purposes, especially as you get more complicated projects, to label your layers. And now in After Effects, you can naturally do it by right-clicking and picking a color, but it's just a lot easier just to go boop. You can do a whole bunch of layers all at once. You say, I want them all to be blue or whatever. So you can have like segments of your animation can all be the same color, so it's easy to find, or all the text layers can be the same color or whatever. And in After Effects, you can say, select label group, but if you're in labels, you can see there's all kinds of different cool settings, and you can select label group by holding Shift and clicking on that label. So, for example, if I wanted to select the blue ones, I just hit Shift, and it selects all the labels that are that group. So if you're needing to move around a bunch of layers all together, you just set them all as one label group. And labels just makes it faster. It's a script, basically. It's a script panel in After Effects that doesn't do anything. Like, it's not like a plugin, because a plugin changes the look of the pixels of an image, is basically what a plugin does. So it can generate all new things, like Trapcode Particular is a plugin, and it just generates particles. Or it can be like Electrify, which takes your image and just adds stuff onto it. Those are both plugins because they change the pixels. A script just automates After Effects' own capabilities. And extensions are just like scripts in that they don't add functionality to After Effects. They just automate stuff that After Effects does, but extensions just have they have some flashier UI stuff that you can do, user interface stuff. But both extensions and scripts don't add functionality to After Effects. They just make functionality After Effects already has faster, that's what labels is. And in labels, as you may have noticed, it lets you pick different color schemes. So I'm using a scheme from Ryan Summers right now. He is formerly from School of Motion. Before that, big time creative director dude. Now creative director dude again at Spilt Studio. Spilt. I don't know. There's a lot of L's in it. But there's a cool color scheme in here I got from David Arbor, cool motion designer that I know. Got to hang out with him at Camp MoGraph, Paul Conigliaro, who is an amazing motion designer and all-around cool person. I've got his color scheme in here I sometimes use. I've got Google's material. There's a bunch. So, and you can make your own, obviously. You could make all the colors you want, name them how you want them to be named, and then you can save them in here.
Michael with the tips.
So yeah, but again, this is stuff you should be doing anyway. Even if you don't have labels, you should be doing that. Anyway, like label your things. You can label in here as well in your project panel, which you can use labels to do, or just do it here.
Yes, especially if you work in an environment where you share with other people, or you need to do multiple editorial outputs, or you're prepping something to go to additional comp. It's a really great way to organize your projects. We used it a lot when I was working at DreamWorks on Me and My Shadow, where we had to be able to isolate everything as quickly as we could. So you'd be like, okay, everything having to do with the main character is labeled red, and everything with the background is labeled blue, and then you just assign different colors. And so if anyone needed to solo something from a crazy hundreds of layers comp, you could do it like this, and it
makes working with complicated stuff so much easier. It helps keep you from drowning in just a sea of layers. Also useful in the project panel. When I was working on the visual effects for the Disney Christmas special that I assume is coming out in a month or two,
I had to come out like right around February.
Probably right around February. There was dozens of shots in the scene I was working on, because I just worked on mostly one scene, dozens of shots. So each shot was its own composition, because, with all the different layers, you don't want all the shots in one comp, because then you'd have thousands of layers. So each shot was its own composition, all laid out in a master comp that had all the shots together. So I had things labeled like, this is a comp I'm currently working in. This shot has been approved. This shot has out for approval. This shot I haven't touched yet. And I would just color correct them. I'm pointing at my screen. You can't see. I would color correct here, or color label them here. And then in your tabs up here, you can see, this one's green, as an example. So this one's, it helps, again, keep you track. It's up here as well. helps keep you track of your label color is here for your layer, your composition label color is here. It just helps you keep track of where you are and what you're doing. Also, while we're talking about label colors, you can also, I'll just right click here, label, let's make these ones amber, your keyframes. Oh, I don't want that one. Yes.
Your keyframes.
You can label your
those
keyframes.
Things that are in the, I don't know what I'm going for there.
I forget which key. There we go. Control. That's the one. So I'm going to need that in blue. So yeah, so you, labels also lets you color keyframes. So labels, the script, lets you color things here, and your keyframes too. But you don't need labels. You can do it yourself.
All right. So yeah, labels 4 on AE scripts might be being updated, says Andrew.
Oh yeah, they just fixed some bugs. So
excellent.
Coming. But anyway, back to actual, like, screw this boring workflow stuff that makes your life so much easier. Let's talk about this stupid shot. My ghosty.
Let's get ghosty.
So I have the evolution offset, which tells how it's going to move through the image contours. I'm setting it manually. The evolution speed moves it automatically, but I wanted to have full control over how this electricity moved up this ghost. So I just manually keyframed the evolution offset rather than having the evolution speed do it, because I wanted it to kind of slowly build on and then move through the contours, then ending just up here in the eyes. So all that is saying, hey, move through those contours and then move through those contours. So it's just this offset moving up just a little bit over time and then wham up into the eyes. So this whole effect is just Universal Electrify with Optical Glow and Magic Bullet Looks on top of it. And it gives you this kind of cool, spooky energy just kind of flowing up the side of this ghost. And then as the camera gets up close, it goes into the eyes glowing at you. All kind of spooky spook.
I love your
that's that kind of shot. I also wanted to talk about, was it this one? I wanted to talk about, no, not this one. Although this one is cool.
Whoa. Wait a second.
Right?
For just a moment there, call me crazy, I saw little Jack O'Lantern.
So I didn't make this image. This shot was just talking about using Magic Bullet Looks. You should always use Magic Bullet Looks on your stuff. Even if you're not color grading something, you can use it to add just a little bit of analog warmth or coolness or whatever, analog flavor to your shots. So I'm using some diffusion, some tiny bits of chromatic aberration, tiny bits of, just a bunch of things so that it just has a kind of just a nicer warm feel to it and loses some of that CG cold, like, and it's hard to describe, but just like precision that computer imagery has. Mm-hmm. And using Magic Bullet Looks, I add some of that analog like imperfections to it very subtly, but it just makes an image feel better. But this is a cool image anyway. Some artist whose name I forget offhand. Anyway, it's on stock footage site, and they did a really cool job. So all this is a fluid sim, basically a smoke sim, and they cleverly loop it by having it come into position and then out and then fade away. But while it's fading away, the coming in part comes in over top of it. It's really clever and a really well done loop. But I didn't want to show that one. I was wanting to show. Where did it go? Where was the thing I was wanting to show? Was it this?
Look for it right now. What I'm doing is something that I've done before, and I grabbed the skeleton from the asset browser, which is rigged, but I really want to just grab an animation from Mixamo and put it on to them. So I am trying to quickly use the auto rigging tool. I mean, technically this should be a standard skeleton, right? But sometimes when you have a mesh this sparse, which I actually did a little polygon reduction on, so even more likely to have some little failures. But I can cross my fingers, right? Oops. All right, it's a little confused because some of these points it's not registering. It thinks they're hollow. And I'm sorry, Mr. Skeleton, that you have to put up with this kind of thing wherever you go. People saying they can see right through you.
People think he's scared because he doesn't have the guts.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this might not work.
What's wrong with the skeleton they had on him?
Well, I want to add some animation to him from Mixamo. And the Cinema 4D one that comes in is pretty cool. Like, it comes in and has a rig and everything. But I want to grab one of these, the ones from the Mixamo.
I mean, you should be able to just take the skeleton and use the character retargeting, but that's a whole conversation for a different episode. Being that we've got 30 minutes left.
Hey, Justin appreciated the doesn't have the guts joke, which was pretty awesome.
Oh, thank you, thank you, Leduc. Leduc? Is it Leduc or Leduc? Ledouche? Leduc? Leduc?
Let's see. I am gonna go ahead and open up.
Feel free to type into the chat how you think Justin pronounces his surname.
Absolutely. All right. I am going to see if I happened to save. Oh man. I'm probably going to be.
Well, while you're doing that, we can talk about this.
What do we got? Tip Tuesday, but it's Friday.
Yeah. Well, this is the Tip Tuesday post I made, but I was talking about something else. The Tip Tuesday post was about how you can get this particle motion, but I want to talk about, I don't know how well you can see it over the stream, but there's real subtle movement happening of this kind of glow kind of pulsing through the little jack-o'-lantern here that I kind of want to talk about. But I'll address really quickly how I got this look. So you might be thinking, how did he make the particles come in like that and take that shape? And the way you think I did it is probably right. So this is, I took the jack-o'-lantern out of Cinema 4D and...
All right.
And sorry, Justin, for your surname. Good luck pronouncing mine. Stripped out the inside part because I just wanted the outside shell. I didn't want two layers to it. And used that as the emitter. So this is the start of the animation. It's right here at the end because I reversed it. So I spawned all the particles on the outside of this jack-o'-lantern. And then I have it set to flock. So they're all flocking. And the camera moves here as well. And I put an attraction point over here. So they spawn on and then go, we're a little flock of guys flying together. And then these ones on the edge, I'm pointing again with my finger, these ones on the edge see the attractor point and start flying towards it because I have it set to be, they can only see a certain distance. So these guys can't see it, but they can see their buddies flying that way. And they have alignment set, so they're going to go, I'm going to follow our buddies. And then you can see they all start seeing it when they hit around this point here, and they all start flying towards the attractor point.
That's
so
cool.
It's a neat way to get them to kind of like all go flying off of something. But how do I get them to sit still here at the beginning before they take off?
Yeah, Michael.
So you'll see they all kind of start moving in a neat turbulent way right at the very beginning of their motion here. And I should say, I don't have it like these are all still technically animated in this point here before they start moving towards the point because Particular has a very handy, let me see if I can pull up the actual project file. Project file, Tip Tuesday, where are you? Jack-o'-lantern flocking, here we go. Jack-o'-lantern flocking, are you here? Are you going to work? What are you doing? Anyway, so in Particular... under the particle here, is it another particle? I don't remember where it's settings at.
I'm totally letting you tap dance over there as I search for.
No, it's fine because
I swear I saved somewhere and I
motion.
Having trouble.
There it is. I was looking for motion for some reason. Velocity over life.
Velocity.
So the particles over their lifespan have at the very beginning they have no velocity. And then it ramps up to full velocity over life. So what that lets you do is your particles are just going to sit there. Over footage. The particles just sit there in the beginning. No matter what physics, flocking, whatever sort of settings you've got, they're going to sit there because at birth, they have no motion. and then the motion slowly ramps up and they start being able to move. So that's how I got that kind of flocking stuff. But what I was wanting to talk about was this cool little floaty energy stuff going up the thing there. And I did that using, well, where are you? Electrify again.
Electrify.
Set to use alpha outline, and the flow is moving upward. So if I just show off, turn electrify all the way up, and turn magic bullet looks off, you can kind of see how it's flowing. Okay? It's just all it is universal electrify moving upward using the alpha of the particles, and it gives you this kind of cool, like Ghostbusters-ish kind of spooky, ghosty energy. And really, you have to do so little. Because I'm just trying to crank this out real fast. Because I'm here to talk about how the particles move in this Tip Tuesday post. But I just wanted to add a little bit of something extra, so I just threw electrify on there, knocked back its opacity, and then magic bullet looks on top of it, of course. Because you can barely see that it's there, but it just adds that little touch of something extra. And it's throughout the whole animation. Like it's all there because it's just based on the alpha of the particles. But I just gives you that little extra something. Turn it back down. Where do I have it at? 10. Then of course magic bullet looks here. I'm using. So what do I do with this one? Oh, optical glow as well. So optical glow, magic bullet looks. I think this magic bullet looks is fairly simple. Yeah, only 3 things on there. Anytime you're using glows or diffusion or gradients of any kind, especially if you're posting them on the internet, you need to put renoiser on your things. I mean, you need grain of some kind. It doesn't have to be renoiser, but renoiser is just the best. You can put fractal noise at a very low scale and a very low opacity. You can use a regular noise effect, but those don't have the flavor that renoiser has. The reason you want noise and grain on your image is because in 8 bits of data for every pixel, you only have so much color data. And so when it gets compressed for the web, you get this thing called banding, where you're like, I have a smooth gradient. I know I do. Why am I seeing these lines in it? It's called banding. And you break it up by having some noise in your image. So it's not a smooth gradient. It's just a slightly grainy image. And that, for sciencey reasons, kills banding and makes your image look smooth again. Even though there's technically noise and grain in it, it looks way smoother because it makes the banding go away. The reason I like renoiser, a lot of folks want like real like film grain. So they take footage that was shot on 8mm or 32mm or 16mm cameras on a gray background and it's like, here, I've got true film grain. I'm going to overlay that on my image and I have true film grain on my image. Sure, you do. But it doesn't react right. Film reacts differently in the highlights and the midtones and the shadows, and it reacts and there's different amounts of color based on that. So here in Renoiser, it reacts more like actual film grain does. You can change how much grain there is in the highlights, midtones, to shadows. You can change the amount of red, green, and blue noise. You can change the size of the red, green, and blue. So you get like real, proper, good film grain response to your image. It's not just this gray grain slapped over top of everything. So you get a much more natural, filmy grain look, and it's GPU accelerated, so it's nice and fast.
That is
so
super
I used
cool.
Renoiser because I was using optical glow, tiny bit of chromatic aberration just on the edges. Look, it's 0.2 and 0.1. Like it's, basically 0.3 and 0.2. Very, very, very subtle. Because you don't want people to see your chromatic aberration most of the time. Like if you're doing just adding for flavor. So just tiny little amounts. And then anamorphic flares just to give that little tiny kiss of a contrasty color on the highlighting.
Anamorphic flares. They just fill in that in such a nice way.
The defaults on them is way too hot for me sometimes, but in this case I needed to crank it up some.
Oh wow.
On this shot. But yeah, usually, because a lot of people throw it on there and go, oh, that's ugly and sharp and gross and I don't like it. But you bump the threshold softness up and then take the size and boost down a little bit. And that
you can also pick the color space up there because sometimes the blending might look off to you. Oh, hi to you too, my digital assistant.
So you can pick the color of it. Like I love anamorphic flare because it just adds that little kiss to the highlights that just makes your thing feel like it was shot on an anamorphic lens. which makes it, better, obviously.
Always.
It makes it feel like a Hollywood type camera instead of your iPhone, basically, is what I'm saying.
Nice.
So yeah, that's how I made that little image with that flowing energy going up. What else was I going to talk about today?
You were going to talk about some baddie stuff.
I was going to do baddie stuff. Yeah, thank you.
Do we have time for bats? Do you need a second to get set up?
I do need a second to get set up. Hang on, where's my bats go?
So I'm going to revisit something that we revisited about a year ago, probably Halloween-ish time. This was a shot from a little tutorial that I wanted to do for a while, and it was right after Rotobrush 2 came out. And I was really excited about Rotobrush 2 because it allowed me pretty easily to cut out someone like this through this very long clip because they have a pretty distinct high contrast thing going on compared to the background here. Now, I don't want to just show you that. One of the things that I really like about using content-aware fill on a subject like that is that now if you have a rotoed character, you can always grab that character and do something like this, where you set them as an inverted alpha matte. And now you have this great cutout hole for content-aware fill to work with. Now, obviously, this isn't going all the way out there. Let's see. Any tips for pre-processing footage in a pre-comp to make Rotobrush work better?
Contrast.
Contrast
levels
is great. Contrast and levels. Like if you're working with flat footage, you may want to throw, a Cineon converter kind of thing on there first. Or, if you're basically any color correction that makes the character stand out from the background to your eyes will probably help out the auto tracing engine. And then my second tip for doing something like that, I just did. I'm working on. Let's see. Let me see if I can show. Save. Why not? Here, don't look at this yet because I've yet to premiere this at the at Adobe Max. So yeah, if any of you are going to be in LA for Adobe Max, come by and say hi. I would love to see you. I'm going to be in LA. I haven't been to LA since I moved to La Canada. So
La Canada.
Same thing here. We've got this kid running through a yard, pretty cool piece of footage, and I'm going to do some cool Marvel-y stuff with it, using some AI, using some all sorts of crazy stuff. But the point is, Rotobrush 2 required very few keyframes. Let me see if I can reveal them, I think, by pressing, I double tap E, or U maybe, and you can see that I have 46 background strokes and 46 foreground, 23 background strokes to do all of these frames throughout this entire thing. So it's very little hand-holding that I needed to do to give me a cool result of this cutout kid. I even have the motion blur setting turned on. And once you have something like this, if you choke that out a little bit and erase your background with it, you can give yourself an amazing result like this. Now, this is not perfect, but that's pretty impressive. It's an invisible kid running over here. A little bit of trouble with that moment, but honestly, a remarkable use of technology that's accessible to you right now. And the reason I show these all off, and I think that I went into this basically last year when we were talking about this kind of stuff, is because the ability to delete a background or delete a character from something and leave yourself with a cool background plate so easily now, and it doesn't even need to be perfect. Like here, this is not perfect. So there's some weirdness going on here, but honestly, this is a long clip, and because the camera is sort of orbiting around him, there's this patch that's not always very well shown. But check this out. Like you almost can't tell when you comp the original back over it. And the cool thing about this is now you can do cool stuff like this. Let's see, we've got 10 minutes left. I'll do this real quick, Michael, so we can get back to you. But I can have this dude walk in and then turn down his opacity as he puts this hat on. So now you can have these cool shots where like people vanish and people look more like ghosts. And that was one of the cool things that I like in any movie where they do kind of that double exposure effect, where you can have a little ghost character and you can see through them. That was one of the cool things about the Frighteners movie, is that the ghosts in that, there were no locked cameras, it was all moving around, but the ghosts were always translucent like this. You could see through them, and it was this really cool effect. And honestly, if you were working with something like this, you could easily do something like add an optical glow. I would preserve or I would extend and unmult that. But the Frighteners effect was basically something kind of like this. I don't know if that's too purple. I'm bad at picking ghostly colors because I make them too purple. But
I don't mind purple ghosts. Purple ghosts are cool.
Like, check that out. Like, that's a neat effect, and you can see through this dude, which is neat. So it's automatically cooler than, just like rotoing and colorizing someone. But being able to give a little bit of background detail is really cool. And then go a step further. I do a handful of this kind of stuff in my Invisible Jet tutorial, but I'm going to throw an adjustment layer behind this guy. And one thing that you could do is, if you just had this rotoed character, you could have a duplicate of it without effects turned all the way up, and then turn it into an adjustment layer, which will make it look kind of invisible at first. But then you could go in and add like a fast box blur. And then as I turn that up, look at this effect. Now I'm making him like he's made out of, like frosted acrylic here or something like that. And you get this cool effect where you're seeing through him, but not quite everything. And then a step further than that is if you had an adjustment layer, you could put your adjustment layer here. I'll even turn off the ghost here. And then I'll add one of my favorite things from the VFX suite, which is, I can't think of the name of it, chromatic displacement.
I love chromatic displacement.
And I can just grab that rotoed character right here, and I can say displace. And as I do, check this out. And I can soften the displacement layer. I can get this beautiful, like, depending on how much detail I want to come out of this, look at this. Look at this dude. It's such a cool invisibility kind of effect, and it's got chromatic separation in the colors and stuff like that. And if you turn down the soften amount, you can get all the way back to as much detail as you want from the original. And now you've got, like, look at this watery character. So if you turn down the soften to about this amount, but turn up the displace amount and the displace spread, you can really get some like watery kind of feelings, which is kind of neat. So yeah, you could go backward, which would make it look more like they're being diffracted through there. And like that's a neat effect. And of course, you can always mix back your original on top in various ways. So if I had my glowing original and I had sort of a softened distortion map to some degree, let me turn the displacement amount. Let's see, what do I like? Do I like him magnifying the background, or do I like him... I kind of like him making the background smaller so you can even see more of it as he passes through. So, like, look at this. Like, now you can have the detail of your character, but you can give the impression that they're made of crystal or something like that. Anyway, this has been cool things you can do if you have RotoBrush and Content-Aware Fill working together. And the background doesn't even need to be perfect. Michael, how are you doing? I know we got about 5 minutes left, and I know what you're demonstrating may take some experimenting, but also it's something this isn't your first bat rodeo.
My first bat rodeo. No, it's not my first bat rodeo.
We all remember our first bat or flock of birds simulation in a particle.
Yeah, I'm working on making them do this at the moment.
All right, I'm going to cut over to you now.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I've got them kind of coming out of this tower, which is going to be a nighttime shot here shortly. Oh, we got 4 minutes left. Gosh dang it.
Now, how did you train so many bats to do what you wanted?
But I want more. Anyway, I mean, all I've done so far is put the emitter here, enable flocking, and I'm working on making them trying to chase something there, but getting pushed away because I want them to kind of be around the outside, but not on the inside. So I'm currently working on getting them to. I don't know. 4 minutes left. I'm not going to have time to do it. So I was wanting to show how to do the thing. Anyway, target attraction. Let's see, pursue. Are they pursuing? Let me see my little other ones. I need to see where they're at so I can see if they're pursuing at all. So they're right there. So they should be set to. Oh, there we go. That's the problem. Flocking. Enable flocking. This is a prey. Why is that doing that? All right. Needs to pursue. So put that back to like, I don't know, 5. See if that behaves. Why are they doing that?
Whoa.
Oh, because they're going too fast. Got it. We're trying to pursue down to like 0.1. See if that behaves. No, still. They're just excited. They're excited to attack. Is what they are.
I was trying to
Maximum
find a render of a swarm of bats that I had done with Particular a while ago, but I can't.
Here we go.
Can't seem to find it.
So they're up there, and I want them to be. -3.
Hey, welcome, Jacob Dalton, to a very exciting 4 minutes.
Frosty Beerman wants to see how I turn this into a nighttime look. Well, that's fairly easy. Done.
Wait a second. How did you do that so quickly? What happened?
So this background is a layer with nothing on it. This one's got Primat gear. So I just keyed out the night sky. So my plan,
Primat.
yeah. So I just keyed out the blue sky. So my plan is to turn the clock tower on by just putting basically a little glow right here, where the clock face is, and then color grade this thing to be bluer. So it has that nighttimey look with a night sky gradient on the background there. Here, let's just layer new adjustment layer, just out of curiosity. I know that Looks has a day for night preset, so I'm just curious how the Looks day for night preset will work on this one. Let's see, Looks.
I do love the day for night preset. It works. It can work pretty well on some stuff. I mean, look at this.
There you go.
It looks exactly like Jordan Peele's Nope.
Let me show that sky back in there to give you a bit of a whatever. So there you go. Kind of a night sky looking thing. But I'm going to adjust that because I don't need that to be there. So spot exposure off.
Ooh,
yeah, there we go.
Get that vignette. Look at that. It's the 2000 something hit Van Helsing.
Yeah, without me. I mean, this is how Van Helsing looked the whole time. Oh, see, Primat is keying out some of that. So I want to keep that in there. Primat, come here.
That's my favorite part about Primat is you just say, no.
Don't key that out.
Over here.
There we go. That's better.
Like a child.
Primat is so good.
Oh, so good.
Anyway, there you go. Bats. Real quick.
That is so batty.
I was going to try to show a bat sprite. So here's the thing. We don't have time for me to show a bat sprite. Birds, when they flap.
No time for bat sprites.
Birds, when they flap, their body pretty much stays in the same position as the wings go up and down because they have feathers that separate and let air go through, but it has more of an aerodynamic shape to the wings. So the birds can... So the bird body doesn't move up and down very much when it's flying, but it still gets a lift from the push, and then the aerodynamic of the air over the wings because of how the wing feathers are shaped. Bats don't have wings like that. Bats have flaps of skin, so the wings are less aerodynamic, and the air can't move through the wing because it's skin. So when bats move, when the wings go down, the body goes up, and when the wings go up, the body goes down. A lot more motion like that. So when you're animating a bat, it needs to be like the body needs to be moving up and down as it flies. So make sure when you're doing it, because birds, you can just have a little shape and the wings going up and down. Bats, you need to have the body going up and down while the wings move up and down more to get a much more realistic looking bat flapping motion. That counts if you're doing 2D animation, 3D animation, or just little tiny sprites that are going to be off in the distance like I've got going on here. You still need the body moving up and down to make it feel like a bat instead of a bird. So that's my little quick tip for when you're animating bats, the body goes up and down with the flaps a lot more than birds do. So
more wing tips from Michael. That is amazing. Now I'm going to share my screen for a second to show off. This is definitely some work that I did. Ignore the other names on the screen. Jacob, this is amazing. You can see Jacob teach some really awesome tips and tricks for Maxon at our NAB presentations. And look at this. Just how long did you have to work on that, Jacob? I mean, I could read this tweet right ahead of it, but look at this. Just weather and good so much stuff. So cool
stuff.
So cool. Yeah.
So
please do go check out.
3 days Jacob took on that.
3 days. You see, like we did pretty well in 2 hours. So pretty much same skill level right there. But yeah, please do follow Jacob Dalton VFX at here and on his Instagram, everywhere. Super, super cool guy. So, let's see. So, Michael, I had forgotten that we were in this chilly crypt the entire time. And of course,
very cold.
We all did miss not having Seth around. There's always a void without our friend. But it's okay because we will be back. Whoa.
Oh, hey.
Hey, Seth.
Hi, Seth.
Hey, Sethleton. Sethlator.
Skeliseth.
We'll workshop that. We'll come back with it. What a great way to go out than with this. So, please, check out our other resources here and at the Maxon training team. Check out the amazing episode by the Ask the Trainer crew yesterday where Noseman demonstrated some competent use and a pretty comprehensive overview of a lot of the physics systems in Cinema 4D, because you saw what we were able to accomplish in a very short amount of time, and I honestly think that it was some pretty cool stuff. I mean, this guy, remember? This is pretty cool. And Michael's ghosty thing, those are neat things to be able to do with as little skill, as little time as we had to work on them. So you do be sure to check out all the cool physics and stuff like that in the new Cinema 4D. And join us next week on Friday at 10. Bye!